This is your brain.
On pop culture.
Cinema has had its fair share of gimmicks to try and get people in the door, and while many people might love them, there's only one true king of the gimmicks: William Castle. From a young age, after seeing Bela Lugosi play Dracula on stage, Castle decided that, in his own words, he wanted to scare the pants off audiences, and he was driven. By the age of 15, he was already the assistant stage manager for Lugosi's touring production of Dracula, and by 30, he'd already directed films and was running a theatre that he'd leased from Orson Welles. His first gimmick took place at that very theatre. One of his plays had a German actress in it who had recently been invited to Munich by the Nazi party and declined to go, so Castle promoted her as the girl who said no to Hitler, which he then doubled down on by smashing the windows of his own theatre and defacing the building with swastikas, claiming it was American-based Nazis. Which sounds crazy, but the show ran for 10 weeks as a result. As a B-movie director, Castle had a reputation for working quickly and cheaply within the studio system. He'd often make more than one film in a year. For example, in 1954, he made 8 films in a single year. But by 1958, he decided he wanted to produce and finance his own movies, and to ensure their success, he decided to resort to some immersive gimmicks for promotion. His first gimmick film was called Macabre. Castle made a deal with Lloyd's of London that allowed him to distribute waivers to theatre goers that ensured if they died of fright during the film, they would receive $1,000. He also had nurses and hearses on display around the place for good measure. Considering it made $5 million over the course of its tour run, it proved that a good gimmick could sell a bad movie. His next film, House on Haunted Hill, advertised Emergo, meaning a plastic skeleton would fly over the audience on a pulley system, an enticing target for patrons and their popcorn. Nevertheless, its low budget and high profits apparently convinced Alfred Hitchcock to pursue Psycho. That same year, he advertised Percepto for his horror film The Tingler, about a creature that attaches itself to people's spinal cords, and in a pivotal scene, Vincent Price claims there's one loose in the theatre, which was the cue to set off the vibrating motor at the back of some patrons' seats. So it meant that some people got a tingling sensation, and the people who didn't get that tingling sensation still got to sit in a room with genuine screams of shock and amusement. For 13 Ghosts, he claimed Illusiono. These names are getting a lot weaker. He handed out ghost viewers, or glasses, and if you looked in the red side, you would see ghosts. But if you looked in the blue side, you would not see ghosts, although you could apparently kind of see the ghost regardless. For Homicidal, he introduced a fright break, in which if audiences were too scared to see the finale, they had 45 seconds to get up and get a refund, which apparently encouraged some people that were a bit more enterprising to see the film a second time and then just skip the finale. So to discourage this, he introduced Coward's Corner, in which they had to publicly and very visibly stand in a booth and admit they were cowards. For Mr. Sardonicus, audiences could decide the ending, voting using glow-in-the-dark thumbs, although no audience apparently ever chose the merciful ending, and some doubt that ending even exists. So if you're ever in a theatre and you're told to scratch and sniff, or your seat starts to vibrate, spare a thought for, or curse the name of, William Castle.